appreciative of Huckabee and Juris waiving the fees that they would normally charge to design and build the school, and the monetary gift from HEB and from the Charles Budd family. The reason, as you are familiar with, we set the foundation up so that we could build a school on a faster pace than y'all could have done if you had to go out for a bond election and gone through that process. So that was the primary reason. And we wanted to make sure that we got students and teachers and other folks into a school a lot sooner rather than later. We are looking at raising $60 million. That is for the school itself, as well as on the site plan, you see a number of improvements to both the Dalton site as well as what needs to be done at the new elementary school site to help out with existing traffic issues with Dalton, as well as making sure that you've got a very nice school that will last for 90 plus years. We've still got several fundraising events coming up over the next couple of months, and you'll possibly be seeing a lot more media attention to our work, because we still have $15 million to raise, as well as about $7 million in-kind donations. And so we'll be pushing out a lot of information regarding the ability for folks to be a part of the foundation and through those types of givings.
Okay, we are going to review quickly the committee process, what that's been like. So as you've heard, or you know, the foundation was created after the regular board meeting on August 15th, and we were assigned the charge of guiding the design work for this project. This is kind of an overview of our charge, but we really it was very specific. It was to, again, guide the work for the design, prioritizing the safety and security of the students, of course, and teachers, academic programs, instructional delivery, and outdoor learning, and of course, health and wellness as well. But really just trying to meet the needs of our students. And like Tim said, we wanted to build a school that was not only beautiful, but that would last, and that would be something that our community could be proud of. We also, of course, reviewed the district's mission, beliefs, and objectives through all of this work to make sure that we were aligning our work with your goals. This is a list of the committee members. So we have a variety of stakeholders represented here, some dual roles, but we had a lot of input from this committee, and it was a very long process. As you can see, we've been meeting since September. We've had regular meetings. There was a charrette, which involved rotations of different groups of stakeholders, including food service, transportation, local law enforcement, emergency services, and even a group of students, teachers, administrators, to try to get some of that input about what this school really needed to have. And then we had our most recent, I don't mean last ever, but our most recent committee meeting was on March 29th. And then we had our community presentations last week, where we presented what we're presenting to you tonight to our community, invited everybody to come and see that.
Before we jump into the schematic design portion of the presentation, we wanted to start back with how the foundation and groundwork were laid in the conversations that we had with the CAC. There were 3 driving topics that drove the work. The first is brain research. The second is 5 phases of emergency management. We know that as school safety and security, and trauma-informed care. As it relates to brain research, we wanted to make sure that we were providing a variety of settings for students to do their learning, because that is the way that we maximize their learning and the time that they spend in this building. And so here's a list of the ways in which we designed the different spaces within the facility to be conducive to those varied settings. So you can see how some of them provide a wide variety of functionality and some are very specific, but we wanted to make sure that the entire campus provided those opportunities to them. The second is 5 phases of emergency management. We took a 3-step approach to this work, and we built that process with the district and with the CAC. And so we are nearing the end of step 2. We defined all of the threats, not just to the campus or the property, but even contextual issues that may come up, like a gas pipeline in the area, the railroad, municipal airport, lots of different components to that conversation, very deep and very broad. And then we looked at recommendations for mitigation strategies for those highest threats, highest risk, and worked through all of that and have incorporated that into the process and the design. And then the last would be the implementation of the solution and making sure that we coordinate that not only with the built environment of the facility, but also policies and procedures of the district, as well as coordinating with outside agencies. Here are the some of the exterior safety and security measures that are a part of the design. We wanted to make sure that we provide information to y'all and the community by way of transparency to help people understand what types of measures have been included in the design. Here are some of the interior measures that are included in that list, which we will always provide in text form. We will never present safety and security in graphic form. And the "and more" at the bottom of that page is inclusive of some decisions that we're still working through the fine detailing with the district. And there will naturally be some things that are included in the design that we will likely never talk about. They will be coordinated with the district as needed. But we want to balance transparency with confidentiality and be very delicate around this topic. The last is trauma-informed care. One of the activities that we did with the CAC and with the students during the charrette process was empathy mapping. So what you see in front of you are the results of that empathy mapping. The CAC broke down into 4 different smaller groups, one from the student perspective, one from educators, one from parents and family, and one from the greater community. And then students empathy mapped students. And so we were able to look at all that information and incorporate their feedback into the design. This is the inclusive design conversation that we had. All of these elements were included as required by the rules in the educational specifications that y'all adopted in October. And so these are all included in the design as well. And then lastly, in this area, we in the background incorporated in a toolkit that has recently been developed for trauma-informed design in the school setting. And so there are 12 domains, which you can see on the screen. And so we're working through all of that to make sure that we can achieve as much of the design elements as possible in those 12 domains so that we can make sure that the design is thoughtful as much as possible in this context. Here is the program of spaces of the major components included in the project. So you'll see the 3 different grades served, 12 classrooms each, some of those specialty instructional spaces, core spaces, special education environments, and some of the core components of the administration area. And here's the adjacencies, the major massing diagram that we provided during conceptual design, showing the overall layout and configuration of the facility. So you can see which components of the building are single story and which components of the building are 2-story, and how those different functional areas relate to each other.
Good afternoon. I'm here to present the exterior schematic design of the project. And so I'd just like to start off by saying that the planning of this design for the new elementary school provides for a facility that can administer academic and educational relevance, safety and security, community engagement in accordance with programmatic requirements of the district and TEA standard guidelines. So for the site, we had some careful consideration, and through this process for this project, we had a lot of input that came back. And so we had involvement from teachers, administrators, students, parents, and committee members. And so for this design, there were 2 factors that we were looking at as we were developing this school. First one was focused on the vibrant Hispanic culture elements that are known for Uvalde, with the symbolism of strength, character, and the identity of Uvalde. The other traits, these traits can be seen in the rich culture and colorful elements in the papel picado of the project. And so those items that bring vibrant colors into the school. The other part of the design that we took into consideration was the biophilic design centered on beautiful sunsets, the honeybees, the monarch butterfly migratory route that comes right through Uvalde, the Frio River, and then the large beautiful trees that are in the middle of the streets. So here you see an image of an entry, the main entry of the campus, with a covered area for buses to come up to the front, and this is the front entry for the campus. On these other images, you will see that the accent colors that from the outside as well as on the inside of the campus. We have an enclosed courtyard here that students can use for during day activities to be into the school itself. This project sits on about 23 acres. We are located adjacent to Dalton Elementary School with the programmatic size is about 120,000 square feet. We have 3 separate bus drives for this. Yeah, I skipped ahead one too many. And so we are adding 2 new streets in this project on the site development as well. As you can see here, we have this project that stems off of 4th Street and runs west on the backside of Dalton. And then that street continues to be the entrance for the parent drop-off for the new elementary school. Along with that, we are updating or including a road that would connect Leona and go north for emergency responders as well as the public to access the property. These are just some of the images of the exterior of the building along with the courtyard. On the exterior, we have limestone that we are working with regional quarries to find limestone that is close to the area. We've also have a design based on the Dehanus brick with the orange. We have that at the base of the building as well as other key elements in the building design itself. There are some metal panels that will give durable, long-lasting exposure to the outside of the building in select locations. The other items that you'll notice here is that on the canopy there, the columns themselves look like tree branches as well, and that's taken from the design of or from the trees that are in the city. So for the interior schematic design, the papel picado transfers into on the outside as well as the inside, as well as the biophilic design on the school. We've used vibrant colors in select locations to pop within the building itself. Since Uvalde is known for the honey and the bees, we have a lot of the imagery and the images on the inside of the building as well. Let's see. But the other thing we wanted to make sure was on the materials that we were selecting, they were durable and cleanable and could stand the test of time. So these are just some of the images. On the upper left hand, that's the image of the entry, the secure vestibule as you come into the school. On the upper right is the cafeteria and the platform or stage, if you will. The lower left is the collaboration space on the 4th floor wing, and then 4th grade wing, and then the image to the bottom right is the learning or the stair with the library with the learning stair. And on the interior, these were the elements that we were picking up on some of the designs because they're so beautiful on the sunsets that are here. You've got the rivers, the Frio River that's adjacent to Uvalde here, the butterflies, as I mentioned, and the honeybees. All these are themes that we would use with pops of color within the campus, the interior.
While designing the school, I mean, there was a lot of thought into what we were going to put into the school that represented Uvalde, right? So we come to the tree in the library area, what's actually in the hallway between the library and the courtyard, which is going to be accessible to visitors as they come into the school. And we wanted to, of course, put in a tree representing, of course, Tree City, who we were in Uvalde. The fact that the oaks that we have in the middle of the tree represent a strong foundation for Uvalde, the strongest tree out there, right? And through that, we are also trying to find a way that we could honor the 21 victims that passed in the tragedy of May 24th. So we sat with them a couple of meetings. We met with them probably back in February, March. We met with them again. Whenever we presented to the community, we presented to them privately, and we explained to them and we showed them what our idea was. So our idea came back as the tree that's going to be placed. It's going to have 2 large limbs representing the 2 teachers and 19 smaller limbs representing the children. We visited with them. We told them that we're probably going to allow towards the bottom of the limbs a way for them to etch their names. You know, this is permanent. This is a steel structure. Etch their names on the bottom of so that it can be seen from the bottom up. And we're also working with them to see if maybe they want to add a private quote on the top, something that is special to them. And so that's kind of what this represented. We wanted to, you know, we know that this school, we got it because of the tragedy that happened. And technically, this is going to be the center focus of the school and the vision of what we're doing. And technically, this is holding up our school, right? This tree is going to be there symbolizing the school for years to come. And like I said, we're still working towards the details. We've had some ideas on maybe adding some QR codes that can be scanned and that can then show a video or show the history of each children and their story. So again, we're still working through the details. We'll probably meet with the families again to get that correct. But it's been a very thoughtful process. We wanted to respect everybody's wishes and make sure that we did everything right. But we also built something that was going to honor them properly and also represent Uvalde.
Thank you. So I want to speak a little bit about the next steps for this project. So as Natalie and Carrie mentioned, we started back in August, September of last year. We've gone through November for the conceptual design. It started with programming, planning, and then conceptual design. And so we've been in the schematic design phase now since November up until April here. And so we are at that point to go into the next phase of the work. And through this whole project, we've met with the CAC. I think we're up to 10 meetings now. We've given several board updates as well and community presentations as well to understand the project and how it's developed. The next few steps is a construction document phase, and then that leads into construction. There's a few dates here. So today we're asking for approval of the schematic design for the new elementary school. If approved, we'll continue to work with the Moving Forward Foundation to continue fundraising efforts for this project. With that approval, then we move into the construction document phase. This is a little accelerated on this project, but we anticipate signing and sealing the documents in May of 23, which is just around the corner. We would then put the project out for bid, receive proposals in June, and then come back to the board for approval for July for construction to begin. So pretty accelerated schedule, to say the least. And then we go into the construction phase. We don't exactly know when, but we anticipate a groundbreaking event to be determined here in the future. And then right now, with our partner with Joris working on this, they've been involved at every step of the way and been a key component to understanding the timelines and how we're going to deliver this project. So right now we're hearing 18 months for construction. So we anticipate July 23 to begin, and that would take us into January of 25 to complete. And then we do have an outlook for first day of school, but there's so many things that happen between now and then, and we understand that, you know, we want to make sure that this building is open with trauma-informed care in it. And even though we're showing a January 25 date, there's some things that still need to be developed in this as we get into maybe considered a soft opening for the school to understand how the facility will be used, take advantage of all the opportunities of the design as we move through the project. So we'd also like to share with you a schematic design animation that our team has been working with Before that, I have a couple team members here that I'd also like to recognize. We have Marty Massey is our Vice President of Construction Services here. And then we have Chris Huckabee as well that's joining us this evening for this. So this is about a 3.5 minute video. Basically flies around the building and then you enter through, you fly through the building and then go through the spaces. The courtyard, the library, the cafeteria, and then the gymnasium. So let's go ahead and play that for you.